Hello again, this is News Today with me, Kemini Nyamani Amanona. In our first story, one of the 3 isolation centers set up to deal with the Ebola outbreak is yet to have any facility to help it run. Though Ghana has not recorded any cases yet, concern for prevention is extremely high. Government indicates it's the setting up of 3 Ebola isolation centers for the entire country. The centers are expected to be fitted with technical and personal protection equipment to deal with the situation in the instance of an outbreak. Also, government has resolved to improve medical screening at the country's points of entry. And our northern regional correspondent Hashmin Mohammed tells us the isolation center in that part of the country has no facility at all. Has joined me over the telephone now. Let's get more on this. Hello, Hashmin.
Yeah, hello.
Tell us more about this facility. Where exactly in the north is it?
Well, the Tamale Teaching Hospital has set aside an isolation center and a holding room to accommodate Ebola patients. The final result is known to them from a specialized laboratory. Now, the isolation center is located within the accident and emergency unit of the hospital. It is a simple open room with no beds and any sophisticated medical equipment. When I visited the room, and about 200 meters away from the isolation center is the holding room. The holding room, by the explanations of the authorities of the facility, is another center set aside to accommodate and handle Ebola patients. So laboratory results are known to them. Here, and in that particular room, there are only 10 beds in that particular room. As I look around during my visit, when I visited the facility. Now, in terms of one of the isolation centers that has been earmarked, but that has been set aside by government, to which it will be one of the centers nationwide, which they will be using. Like the one in Kumasi, Tamale, and in Tamale. For the Tamale one, there is a portion of a parcel of land has been released by authorities of the Tamale Teaching Hospital to a central government, to which they will put up that facility. Now, my visit at the site, nothing has happened at the site. What I could see over there are just debris of. I could only see debris. Nothing looked like maybe a structure has been put in place. I tried speaking to the deputy director in charge of public health at the Ghana Health Service. Now, what he told me earlier on was that the responsibility to put up that facility is solely that of national security, and for them, their responsibility is just to ensure that all districts and regional, all districts and metropolitan assemblies in the region have the isolation centers as their various health facilities, and that is what they have done. And they can confirm that for almost all the health facilities in the region, they have isolation centers. But in terms of one of the national isolation centers, to which Tamale was identified as one of the centers, for that one, it's not ready yet.
Do we know when it will be fitted?
Come again, Camille.
Do we know when the necessary tools needed to work from the isolation center will be fitted?
All that I know is that they are expecting those facilities from central government, and they haven't given maybe the time period to which all these facilities will arrive in the region. But it appears, apart from what they are dealing with in terms of the facilities that are in the region, anything that is related to the specialized facilities nationwide in which Tamale has been identified, they don't have enough information about that one.
Tell us about these health workers. How concerned are they about the fact that the place is not fitted with the necessary tools?
Well, training has been done. They have trained they have trained the nurses and other medical officials who will be handling Ebola patients in the event that there's an outbreak. That training was conducted in the region for various health personnel. And apart from that, specialized...
Hashmin, I'm talking about this isolation center which does not have the necessary equipment in case of any Ebola case being registered at that particular center. How are the health professionals reacting to that?
Well, for them, they don't see it as a problem. Once all the health facilities in the region have isolation centers, Ebola isolation centers at their facilities, for them, they are not worried because that facility was just a facility that central government was putting in place. But for them as a region, they have ensured that all facilities within the health facilities in the region have an Ebola isolation center. And that is what I have just explained earlier on in terms of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. They have...
Hashmin, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much for that information. Let's move on to some other stories now. The project coordinator for the Center for Global Safe Water, Sunny Pass, at the Emory University in the United States of America, has called on parents not to introduce their children to the use of hand sanitizers. Habibi Yakubu says hand sanitizers contain alcohol that can endanger the lives of these children. He was speaking on Clean Communities.
It has been proven that soap, hand washing with soap, is the best. You can have hand sanitizers. It's a good thing. But with children, this is alcohol, okay? With children, providing them with this, they don't know how they'll play around with it or even put it back in their mouth. When you wash your hands with soap and water, it's safe. But with sanitizer, it's alcohol in your hands. I would say no.
Meanwhile, a study by Sunny Pass shows that a majority of the nursery and primary schools in the country do not have hand washing stations, and the water drunk in these schools are contaminated. Habib Yakubu disclosed this on Joy News' sanitation program, Clean Communities.
In nursery school, what we saw was that only 11% in nursery schools. So we looked at primary schools and nursery schools. Only 11% had a hand washing with soap. I think it's important to emphasize with soap. Hand washing with water is not enough. You have to wash it with soap. When the children used the latrine and they came out, we rinsed their hands. Those who didn't wash their hands, we rinsed their hands to see what's in there. And I can tell you that about 86% tested positive for E. coli, which is an indicator of human fecal contamination. Okay. For primary schools, 21% of the schools that we assess had, only 21% had a hand washing with soap. And what you see at these schools, I'm talking about these schools also, is that most of the children drink pipe water. When you tested them, they were contaminated. So it's a problem. You know, you have to clean that thing almost daily, especially for schools where they use it very, very often. The soil around the schools were also contaminated. If our study focused on low-income urban communities, where we think that's where there's a major problem on about sanitation. We worked in Accra in 4 communities: Alajo, Bukom, Agbogloshi, and Shabu, which is near Mamprobi.
Clean Communities is a Joy News Star Ghana collaboration and airs every Friday at 7 p.m. on Joy News on your multi-TV. Do make a date this Friday for some Clean Communities story. Now let's turn attention to politics now. Many from the New Patriotic Party were barely 24 hours after the party's Special Delegates Congress. Executives of the various external branches of the party are urging the other aspirants who made the shortlist to defer their presidential ambitions and withdraw from the race in the interest of the party.
The elections have been very credible, and kudos to all members who contributed in making it a success, including all of you here present, the media and all that. Before we came down to cast our votes, most of our branches held internal elections for our members to decide their preferred candidate. For example, China voted 85.4%, Germany voted 99.6%, and Belgium voted 100% for Nana Akufo-Addo. Therefore, the superdelegates from the external branches voted in accordance with the wishes of their members who sent them, and not in their individual capacities. In the same vein, the members of parliament and the constituency chairpersons also voted based on the wishes of their constituents. Deducing from this, we can say that the results of yesterday's election is a true reflection of the wishes and aspirations of the masses of the party.
Opare Hammond appealed to the other presidential hopefuls who made the 5-man shortlist to consider the interests of the party and throw their weight behind the win of the Special Delegates Congress. Nana Adjei Akufo-Addo.
We'd like to use this opportunity to commend Honorable Joe Garte and Honorable Osei Amiao for graciously acknowledging the wishes of the masses of our party by voluntarily withdrawing from the race. As much as we respect and recognize the constitutional rights of the other candidates to go for the October 18th elections, we humbly appeal to them to consider the larger picture in the supreme interest of the party and throw their weight behind the winner of the Superdelegates Conference. We believe such a consideration will go a long way to foster party unity. However, if they decide to pursue their constitutional rights, we wish them all the best.
Well, the new Patriotic Party presidential hopeful, Francis Adai Nimo, is to meet his team of advisors to decide on the next line of action after making it into the last 5 for the October 18 Congress. The Member of Parliament for Mampong pulled 22 votes to knock out the likes of Dr. Kofi Konadu Apreku and Samoa Boateng, both former ministers in the John Kufuor administration.
I'm happy that at the end of the elections yesterday, I met as one of the 5 persons to have been shortlisted. This gives me a lot of encouragement that yes, the work that I have done in the 10 regions, interacting with regional executive committees and major stakeholders of the party, has not been in vain. It gives me the confidence and the encouragement that yes, there is a recognition that Adai Nimo also has the potential to lead the new Patriotic Party. That is the satisfaction that I gained from the outcome of yesterday's elections result. So I have described this game to be a combination of rationality and irrationality. The rationality component of the political game is what you have to do, the planning that you have to do, the interaction that you have to do, the resources that you have to mobilize, your message, getting to the voters, getting to the electorate, you have to do that. The irrationality component is what you do not control. That is the mind of the individual. The mind, the actual mind of the individual, you do not control. It is only the maker who controls that. If we do all the consultations and there is a consensus building, that will foster and enhance the unity of the party in diversity. We can go ahead to do so. But I think that at this stage, let us give all of us the time to recover from the tiredness and from the campaigning fatigue and getting in touch with voters to vote for you. You know, just a day after the election, everybody is now trying to take a little rest and to recover and to refresh the mind and the heart. And once we get to the bridge, I am sure we'll find a way to cross it.
Let's check out what's trending here on News Today as far as business is concerned. The Bank of Ghana financed 70% of the government's 4.8 billion Ghana cedi budget deficit in the first half of the year, continuing a trend of excessive lending to the government, which analysts warn could harm the economy. During the first half of the 2013, the BOG financed 38% of the deficit, and in the same period of 2012, financing was 54% rather of the gap. However, almost all of the deficits in the first quarter of 2014 was central bank finance. This has prompted Fitch Ratings to warn that the Bank of Ghana's increased lending to government will worsen the economic situation. The cedi has seen its steepest fall to the dollar in 14 years, depreciating by almost 30% since the beginning of this year. Well, tax expert Ali Nachia is asking customers and suppliers to fully complete all sections of their VAT invoices in the transaction of their business. This, he believes, will ensure taxes are not evaded, while it provides the GRA with the needed information to do verification exercises, thereby boosting the tax administration system.
VAT-registered customers are to have valid VAT invoices from their suppliers in order to claim back the VAT they have paid on the purchase for their business. Suppliers of goods and services, in turn, are to ensure customers receive VAT invoices. Tax expert Ali Nachia is, however, worried the invoice details, such as the tax identification numbers, are often left blank, a move he believes can result in tax evasion.
The information required on the invoice is very necessary. If you take any VAT invoice, you have to give the name of the supplier, the name and address of the receiver of the service. You have to give the date of the transaction, the supplier's TIN number, and the customer's TIN number. The idea is to improve the database of the Ghana Revenue Authority so that they can go up and do verification exercises. If the person has collected the VAT from you and issue with an invoice, they need to find out whether he has indeed remitted. So if you don't complete all the portions on the invoice, you are making tax administration and collection very difficult.
He charged the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure the public is well educated on completing all sections of the VAT invoice.
It is good that we educate all suppliers, all customers that demand that your number is indeed put on the invoice. As to the authenticity, as long as the receipt you are holding is not coming from a booklet that is missing or stolen from the GRA, then of course it is their document. And any VAT you've paid on it, you should be able to claim it because you are holding a VAT receipt. The issue about whether it is fully completed is something that we need to keep educating people, that complete all sections of the VAT invoice. It is very important.
Ali Nachia also called on the GRA to reject invoices that are not fully completed.
The Volta River Authority and 4 companies outside the NG Gas Consortium based in Nigeria are close to signing a gas sales agreement for the supply of gas via the West African gas pipeline to power its thermal plants. The 4 companies, ND Western, which bought Shell's assets in Nigeria's gas network oil, Constant Capital and Sahara Oil. The authority has also agreed a long-term deal with Gasol LNG Import Limited for supply of gas to the largest power generator for electricity generation. Gasol is expected to receive LNG from Nigeria and its LNG facility sited in Benin for onward supply to Ghana. The conditional gas supply agreements the VRA has signed will require Gasol to supply 100 million standard cubic feet of gas per day.